Yo, 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 what's up, all you burner stoners and potheads? This is Weedman 420 with the Weedman 420 Chronicles. How are all you vipers doing out there, Mrs. Weedman?
Mr. Weedman?
How the hell are you?
Doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Hey, everybody out there in the world. Hopefully you're smoking some big fat doinks while you're listening to the show, and we're about to get normal. And we're smoking on a strain that was given to me by Goat Genetics, local here in Illinois. And he gave me a strain called Cherry Unts. And there's a C in front of it. I'm not going to say the word. But it's by bred and grown by Goat Genetics. And it is a feminized photo period. The lineage is glazed cherry pie and Bahama runts. The average THC strain is 24 to 27%. The yield is high. It tastes fruity, sweet, and cherry. And the effects are mellow, high, without the brain fog. So I really like to thank Goat Genetics for this strain that he donated to the show. Thank you very much. We're looking forward to smoking it and seeing how it makes us feel. And Mrs. Weedman, what do you think?
It tastes nice.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It smells nice.
It's very nice.
And I've had it for a hot minute. It got a little dry, but it's okay. It's still grounded nice, and it looks like it...
It's tasty.
I rolled a fat doink, though. Or stuffed a fat doink on this one.
That's pretty tasty.
He won the... Goat Genetics won the
Urban Legend Cup.
Yes.
At Blue Island
And that was the
Beer
first time we
Company.
got a chance to smoke his strain when he
That's
gave us some weed back then. This is very tasty. The 3 strains we've had from him have all been really good.
Tell me the description again.
The description is, let's see here. Sorry about that, everybody. It is, I deleted it.
Sorry. All right. Well, it's very tasty. I'm just trying, like, my taste buds are not.
It's a cherry strain.
Yeah. I taste fruity, piney, a little piney at the end. I don't know. It's very good.
It's very nice.
My taste buds just aren't great.
100%. It is very nice, though.
Yeah.
So, and I like it because it's going to be mellow and kind of like just a mellow high, which is what we really like. So everything cherry we've smoked, just like anything that has blueberry in it, I've smoked, has been great. So what do we got going on?
This Saturday. So today we record on Tuesdays. Today is Tuesday. You'll be hearing this sometime on Thursday or Friday, hopefully. And on Saturday, that will be December.
You wish.
I wish. No, I don't really.
No.
December 20th would be really crazy.
Yeah.
It will be January 20th, this coming Saturday, January 20th, from 4 p.m. until 10 p.m. at Blue Island Beer Company will be the Super Sesh with Spliff Society. So Spliff Society is putting it together. They're selling tickets. You can go to their Instagram or go to their website, spliffsociety.org. I think their Instagram handle is The Real Spliff Society. And you can get tickets, $7 in advance, I think 20 at the door. There's going to be DJs, food vendors, and all sorts of canna-friendly vendors. And the last one was super great fun. And I think as I was promoting it during the week on my, I take care of all the 8 Decades social media. Mr. Weedman takes care of all the Weedman social media. And I posted it a couple times this week to let people know about the event. And I realized that Cannabis Events, we forget because we're so in deep with what we do in cannabis here in our market that there's still places where cannabis is not legal. So you obviously don't have the opportunity to do these events. It's not being advertised on social media. It's not anywhere. They're just not happening, or if they are, they're very underground. I would say to some degree they're still underground, and we forget to recognize that. Because the only way you find out about these events in Chicago is word of mouth and social media, and not Facebook. It's going to really not even LinkedIn either. You're going to find them on Instagram. And you have to connect to someone within the environment or ask at your local dispensary about events or where you can find out about events. But these events, really, the most important people that could show up to these events are everyday consumers. not people in the business. It tends to be pretty business heavy, and networking within amongst people who are in products, who are in dispensaries, who are bud tenders, who are, you know, brand marketers and influencers. That's who tends to be there. We need more just everyday consumers. So if you
Yes.
see our posts, please don't think that that means that you're excluded. It would be super great to see people from the neighborhood show up at these events, or just regular people. I mean, it still happens. You know, you still meet somebody here and there that they're just there because they heard about it and they wanted to see what it was all about. I would just love to see more of that, because it is really, it's a community, and being cannabis friendly is a subculture, right? Just like people who go to a bar, people who go to a library, people who go to music shows. There's people who like to consume cannabis and like to do it in a social setting. And they're just very welcoming. If you ask me, they're very welcoming events. It could get intimidating, I suppose, because there may be people there that know a lot of people, but that's pretty much anywhere you go. So grab a couple friends, grab a friend. Don't grab anybody, just show up, make a new friend. And just come by. So that's this Saturday, again, at the Blue Island Beer Company.
It's time to stop hiding your consumption in your house still, because it is legal, and I understand that the law states you can enjoy cannabis in the comforts of your own home. We get that. And just like you can enjoy eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in the comforts of your own home, and drinking a beer in your own home, but you still get to go out and go to a restaurant and a bar and consume good food and good drink. So why can't we all go out to an establishment and smoke cannabis?
Right. And honestly, I wouldn't even say that it's like a pressure situation either. If you just want to see what the environment's all about and see if these are like your kind of people and the kind of space you want to hang in, nobody's going to force you to do anything. I would say that most people would assume you're there because you partake, and they might offer you something like, hey, did you want to puff my joint? But they're not going to shove it down your throat.
I've
so
said no.
if you just want to experience it and see what it's all about, if you want to consume, if you want to see what happens in this kind of environment, just come, because that's how we'll continue to make an impact within the overall community and the association of negativity in cannabis. We're not going to change it if we don't do these things and if we don't experience these things. So come on out. Even if you stay for 5 minutes, it's $7. You get your ticket in advance. Come in and check it out.
And a lot of cool people. A lot of cool people in just to talk about cannabis.
Huge, diverse crowd.
Yeah. But just
big age range of people.
It's just great though too, because some people don't only just sell stuff to use with cannabis or whatever. There's people also making other things. There's artists there selling paintings. There's jewelry makers and soaps
and candles
and barbecue sauces, and
some things are infused, some things aren't.
It's cool to see not everybody, I think, in that body of people that have a booth set up do partake in cannabis. I haven't met anybody yet that doesn't.
Yeah.
So it also shows that people that use cannabis have hustles, and they create their own products to sell to be able to make a living. Yeah. So you should support that.
Small businesses.
A small business owner. It's amazing. And some of the stuff I've bought at some of these events have been really cool. I bought a really cool candle from a woman that taught me the greatest thing ever. You ain't working unless you're networking when you go to any event. I've bought, I don't know, I've supported all the small business owners and bought stuff just because I liked it too. It was cool. Some of the stuff that they're making. It's really the thought is in some of the stuff that they're making out there, and some of the new cannabis techniques and the new way to make certain things, and people making different types of edibles, and not just seeing a gummy everywhere. I mean, I see like baked goods, which I love, you know? So it's just very cool to come to these and support the local cannabis scene, but to learn, to grow, to show that we don't still have to hide it, stop the stigma, right? And free the plant is what we talk about all the time. And also, like I've said, there's money in it for everybody. So you're supporting small business owners that can put their kids through school or buy themselves a home or be able to afford a payment, whatever. Or maybe it's a side hustle for them. Maybe they have a day job, but this is their side hustle. So, I mean, and because they're trying to start their business out from the bottom up, and it takes time, especially when you don't have a storefront anymore and you're trying to build it from the internet and doing these pop-up events. Farmers markets and stuff is the way you have to build your brand nowadays. Guerrilla marketing still to this day is one of the best ways to get your brand developed, one joint at a time. You know, so come out and see us and say hello. We'll have our booth set up and I'll be stuffing joints for people. If you buy something, you get a joint. Pick out the strain you want. Come try the 8 Decades smoke tray out, you know? So come check it out and come say hi and give us a hug and a smile. I'm pretty baked. You are too?
I'm pretty comfy. I can tell that you're really baked.
Oh, man.
You're getting slumpy.
Oh, yeah. My eyes are dimmed. That I shouldn't have took that 6 hit. So... You ready to get the show started?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Let's do it.
Could cannabis prevent COVID? There was a bunch of different articles on this one, and this is a survey, says, but I've read like 4 or 5 different articles about this topic in the last week, and I thought it was pretty cool. So the COVID-19 pandemic has a quandary for society since the first strains emerged in early 2020. Remember that? Does it seem so long ago?
Mm-hmm.
COVID? It seems so long ago, doesn't it? But it wasn't. But the Journal of Clinical Medicine looked at the existing research into cannabis and COVID. The research from Dalhousie University in Canada found that cannabis and cannabinoid-based drugs have shown promise in preventing viral entry, acting as an anti-inflammatory agent, and improving many symptoms associated with post-acute SARS-CoV-2 infections. According to the paper, the ECS, the endocannabinoid system, could play a big part in how COVID affects the body. Cannabinoids, the active ingredients in cannabis, are processed through the endocannabinoid system. According to the paper, there's a strong correlation between the ECS modulation and COVID-19 infections and severity. A 2023 paper found that cannabis consumers had far fewer COVID-related complications versus non-consumers. Interesting. This included less intubation, respiratory failure, and death from the disease. Another study published in early 2022 also suggested that CBD and CBG may prevent the COVID-19 virus from infecting human cells, at least in the lab setting. CBG, Mrs. Weedman, the mother of all cannabinoids. Cannabis and long COVID. Ms. Weedman said she had COVID. I still say she had fake COVID. These studies highlight that cannabis may not only help ward off coronavirus infection, but could also relieve the symptoms of long COVID. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, nearly 1/5 of American adults who have had COVID suffers from long-term effects of the virus. I will have to say, the first time I had COVID, that shit fucked me up for a while. Like the after effects. Phew. So, and then post-SARS-CoV-2 infection cannabinoids have shown promise in treating symptoms associated with post-acute long COVID-19, including depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress injury, insomnia, pain, and decreased appetite, the authors wrote. While the review was through, study authors did note that the majority of the research into cannabis and COVID were conducted in other contexts, meaning the discoveries occurred during unrelated studies. They called for more direct inquiry to validate the findings. Concerns over the lack of product consistency and differences in how cannabis affects adults and kids were also noted. There's still much to be learned about COVID and the cannabis plant. However, the evidence shows there should be a strong potential for cannabinoids to help reduce infection and ease the virus symptoms. CBD likely isn't going to be a touted treatment for COVID anytime soon. Research may shape future drug development. In the meantime, cannabis consumers may be glad to hear they're using cannabis could potentially keep the Rona away. Sweet. We've read some articles throughout the last couple of years, too, about COVID and cannabis, you know, and I swear you were eating edibles, and I swear that's why you had fake COVID.
Some of us just have an immunity to it.
You beat it up. You were out gardening.
I wasn't sick.
No, you weren't. Your body just thought it was sick. So, as cannabis is now in Illinois, you see it in stores. You see people using it, people talking about it, events like we just talked about. How and out there's parents consuming cannabis.
There always have been.
Right. So, but now that's more in the public eye. How do you address that weed use at home? And we had O-Dog on the show way back in the day, our daughter, to talk about how do you talk to your kids about cannabis. Remember? So this is more and more. It's as it more states legalize.
Yeah. Canna moms, they're called. Canna moms. How pot-consuming parents address weed use at home. Parenting is hard, but talking about weed doesn't have to be. Parents have a lot to worry about when it comes to their kids. I wouldn't know because I own a dog, but I hear it isn't easy. Social media, school safety, mental health, tech overuse, and diets are all on top of the parent concerns as we head into 2024. For some families, weed is another critical issue. The worry isn't particularly pressing for new parents, those who don't consume, or those who just are getting back into weed themselves. The concerns are warranted when considering cities like New York City and states like California struggle with unlicensed shops, many of whom aren't selling the most reputable products. Additionally, health concerns surrounding underage usage still continue to be analyzed. While we don't have all the data, conclusions so far suggest that early use could present long-term health issues, including less than ideal brain development and schizophrenia. In one study, researchers using statistical models concluded that 30% of schizophrenia cases in men aged 21 to 30 might have been prevented by averting cannabis use disorder. Wow. Such figures have been debated among different lab studies, but still present a potential grave concern. There's much to learn about weed, even at a beginner's level. The struggle is immense, especially for parents who want answers now. I saw this firsthand in 2023 while conducting 2 Q&A panels with New York City Council member Shahana Hanif in Brooklyn. The biggest takeaway was clear. Parents have many questions about weed and few trustworthy sources to turn to. Thankfully, weed is continuing to get normalized in several ways, including the media. Q&As featuring pot-friendly celebrities like Wiz Khalifa are normalizing frank, honest discussions about responsible use and how a plant can fit into a family life. To provide further insight, I spoke with several parents across the United States to gather varied takes on pot and parenting from everyday consumers, providing insights into the similarities and different approaches that they have with pot, education, and normalization. So, open and honest talks. Most parents suggest open, honest discussions once kids become aware of their world and family dynamics. Instead of hiding in the shed or giving up the ganja, consider having frank conversations with your kids when the time feels right. Discuss how the plant fits into family life and how it isn't for kids. Ms. Ramirez, the founder of the Southern California-based education platform Club Kindness, teaches her 13-year-old son and 11-year-old daughter that cannabis is part of their daily life. They know the rules around what's safe and what's not, said Ramirez, adding her kids aren't that interested in pot, attributing to its availability. Along with her husband, the family has integrated the plant into everyday life through storytelling and everyday use, including gardening it and growing it next to their tomatoes, making CBD for their pets. Ramirez also penned the children's educational book, The Root Family's Very Special Garden, based on her family's experiences. Missy Fogarty, founder of New York State-based education and advocacy platform Pothead Parent, teaches her kids and other interested parents about plant benefits and risks. I think this is the best time to open up and give them all of their options, said Fogarty about educating kids. Along with her husband Derek, a military veteran, Fogarty has used cannabis since high school, crediting the plant with helping them through extreme periods of stress, anxiety, and trauma, including early birth struggles with both of their young sons. Ramirez, Fogarty, and other parents say they normalize cannabis by treating it as a medical option. Casey Renteria, a mom and freelance cannabis media and content creator, said she's shown her 7-year-old daughter her dispensary purchases, allowing her to smell the items. I was very clear with her that this was my medicine, and I'll gladly show her and answer all of her questions, but it wasn't something for her to play with, she said. Renteria stated that her daughter lost interest after inspecting a handful of her mom's purchases. Using cannabis is as normal as coffee or food in my home, she added. Sabina Tashbayeva, a 30-something mom in New York State, started using cannabis to treat postpartum symptoms about 18 months after her now 8-year-old son was born. I had a conversation recently with my son about plant medicine and why I use it. And when the time comes, he also will be able to consume it, she said. Tashbayeva's consumption has continued over the years, crediting the plant for helping her become a kinder and gentler parent. Another topic that was part of this was changing consumption habits. Parents all reported avoiding smoking around their children. Other than that, responses varied regarding consumption habits. Several continue to smoke and vape weed, albeit outside or somewhere far removed from minors. Other parents did away with smoke and vapor, moving toward more discreet options. I try to smoke less to avoid questions about why I smell like a skunk, said Jordan Eisenstadt, senior vice president at pot firm Merino PR, and father to an 11 and 7-year-old. I also no longer have a collection of bongs or volcanoes. I try to keep it pretty simple these days, he said, adding he now stores his weed in a locked compartment in the basement. For the most part, parents reported maintaining a similar consumption pattern now that they're parents. However, some slight modifications occur over time. If anything, I'd say the only real change is my morning wake and bake is delayed until I get home from dropping my boys off at school, said Enrique Alvarado, creative director at Chronicle, and a father of 2 in Colorado. Another topic was, what about your kids using weed? Parents were largely uniform in their responses regarding education and the normalization of safe consumption. Meanwhile, acceptable consumption ages varied. The law states that adults must be 21 or have a medical license to legally consume at a younger age as part of a medical program. Citing the law or select studies, including analysis finding that cannabis may impact brain development until 18 to 25 years old, many parents would prefer to see their kids stay away from weed. I'm here for the lab studies when it comes to things like inhalation, hot smoke, and developing brains, said Ramirez. She predicted that despite the education, her son would likely try to smoke pot at some point in his youth. Other parents echoed similar feelings. I would prefer that my kids wait until they're 25 when their brains are fully developed for them to start consuming, said Robert Mejia, a cannabis studies professor at New York Stockton University and father of 2 sons in their early 20s. Mejia, president of community education brand Our Community Harvest, added, but I'm a realist and know that chances are good that they'll try it in high school or college. Others indicated their approval of their kids starting sooner, with many hoping their children turn to their parents for additional education and help when sourcing product. Some parents noted their stances would change if the law didn't threaten parental rights and personal freedom. If we were allowed to give cannabis to our children legally, I would be answering this question differently, said Reverend Kelly Addison, founder of Canadian cannabis education platform KGL Network. Several parents, including Renteria, say they give their kids cannabis for medical purposes. The Renteria household reports the kids have adhered to a strict CBD-only regimen for the past 5 years. We use infused petroleum jelly on scrapes and topicals before bed when it's been a rough day, she said, adding that the family does not use inhalables. And as for personalized experience. The law has its protocols, which parents must adhere to or risk run-ins with Child Protective Services. Laws aside, every family has their own views on weed and how it fits into their home. The views of just a dozen or so parents shine a light on the similarities and differences regarding the subject. There is no one-size-fits-all response. Like many parents have told me over the years, you try your best to do your best when raising a kid. Open conversations, exposure to responsible use, and overall normalization of the plant into everyday life are great places to educate your kids about pot. Consider contacting the platforms mentioned in the article or check out leading advocacy groups like NORML to connect with local and national groups of parents and plant advocates.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good. Is alcohol so last year?
I think it is.
Can cannabis and edibles and upstage alcohol? And here's what I'm going to say. I was in the bar restaurant industry for 23 long years. Long. I have a daughter who followed in my footsteps, which is terrible. But I am proud of her. And her boyfriend is in the same industry also. And I hear what they talk about in today's world of bartending and alcohol versus when I did it for 23 years. And I do have to say this. Drinks are so fucking expensive. I know how much liquor costs, but drinks are so expensive to where when I go look at a drink and it's $13 and that's
pretty much everywhere.
I would never spend $13
right.
on a drink coming from the 23 years in the bar restaurant industry, but I would spend $1 on a gummy.
$1?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah.
You wouldn't spend more?
No, if 10 milligram gummy was $1.50, $2.
What if it was $5?
No.
No?
Nah. I'd rather smoke weed, flower. Here's the other thing though too. The average, drink is like an hour long, but you have to drink a few to be able to like get that buzz, right?
Right.
So now say you got to drink 3 of those drinks.
You choose to.
That's $39 plus tip.
I would say that and the drinks are more like on average $15. Cocktails are like $15 to $17.
Yeah, it's just the average.
A drink, just a plain mixed drink, should just be like $9 or $10.
Yeah,
right?
This is the average though. Yeah. So on a cocktail. So most people like their cocktails nowadays. So the length of the effects in this, what it says here in this chart, an hour for like liquor. On a 5 milligram gummy is usually about 2 to 3 hours. And you're only spending, say, on a 5 milligram gummy, $1.50, $1.25.
On average.
On average.
Not in Chicago.
On average.
Or not in the state of Illinois.
10 gummies. You get 10 milligram gummies, and they're $20.
Plus $20 in tax.
Don't count the tax.
But you're paying
I
it.
know.
So
but
you just bumped up the price.
Right. So it's like $2.75, $3. Still, for a 10 milligram gummy, $3 versus 13.
Right.
You're saving $10, and you're getting 3-hour high.
And no hangover.
No hangover. Here's a catcher: calories. It is dry January, and a lot of people want to lose weight. What's their biggest New Year's resolution? I want to get fit. I want to lose weight. I'm going to eat healthy, right? I'm going to stop drinking for a month, right? Mm-hmm. But the average cocktail, not one-shot drink, but the average cocktail is 150 calories. An IPA, okay, is 250 calories and higher.
Woo.
For just a regular IPA.
For a glass of beer.
One of the breweries I worked for, the IPA was 250 calories. I remember drinking a lot of those, and I went from 185 to 220 pounds in the first 2.5 years of working for that brewery. The heaviest I'd ever been in my whole entire life. What happened? They came out with a lighter beer, lighter calories.
My favorite.
Yeah, and I dropped 30 pounds in less than a year's time. I also cut the intake of beer too, but then they came out with a non-alcoholic beer basically a seltzer, and and there's no calories, no sugar, no nothing. I went right back down to my fighting weight, 185. So I rather drink that, and then a gummy, an average calorie for just say a gummy is 10 calories. And you get 3 hour high, and it just in Illinois it costs you $3. Sugar.
Cheap date.
Sugar. Most cocktails have 17 to 30 grams of sugar. A gummy's 2 grams. And no one has perfected a sugar-free gummy yet. And the first person that does make a good one, I think there's some people that tried and failed miserably at it, so they stopped. Because Illinois, I know tons of people ask for sugar-free candy. And no one's figured it out yet. So if someone does that and does it right, you're going to be a very wealthy person. So you'll be in every legal state pretty quick, and they'll want your recipe. So figure it out. Here's what Mrs. Weedman just said. What'd you say, Mrs. Weedman?
I don't know. What did I say?
It begins with an H and ends hangover.
Yeah.
How many bad hangovers have you had in the drinking stage of your life?
No, well, we always talk about my, like, every decade I have just a banger of a night. At least once a decade.
Right.
So, not too many.
So
and then there might be a handful of other, like,
let's
memorable...
say in the last 10 years, you probably had...
Oh, the last 10 years?
Yeah, because I'd say you'd have... Because I worked in the beer industry.
In the beer, yeah.
And we would go to a lot of parties, and we would have a little too
much.
much.
Yeah, I might have built up a few extra...
Right. So let's just say
once a year.
In the last 10 years, you've had one a year, just on average.
No,
I've had at least one a year in the last 10
the 4th
10
of
years.
July is your big one.
Yes, I'm miserable the next day. Fucking hate my life on the 4th. I don't do shit on the 4th of July. I do it on the 3rd. So, but you've had headaches.
Ugh,
you've
terrible.
thrown up.
Yep.
You're fatigued.
Fetal position.
Your fetal position, head spins.
Can't eat.
Yeah, you feel like shit for a good 24 to 48 hours. Mm-hmm. You can't even sometimes get water down. That's what you should be drinking the most.
It's like poison.
It's alcohol. It is poison.
I can't do that.
Have you? I've only in my whole, I think my whole entire smoking weed life, maybe twice in my whole entire, I've had a weed hangover where I just felt fog-headed all day. But it also could have been because of alcohol too. So, but I think I've had 2, and I don't think it was because of smoking. I think it was because of edibles, like too much edibles.
The building up of the THC.
No, just too much edibles. Like that edible hangover is bad if you had too much edibles. Like if you're taking like a 20 or 30 milligram and you wake up, or 40 or 50, or even if you're 100 and you've taken too much, you've had that edible hangover. I don't like the edible hangover. I think that's the only time I've ever had it, and then maybe twice in my whole entire time taking edibles. I've had an edible hangover. So, but there are weed hangovers. We have talked about it. Some people get them, you know, but they do suck, but not as bad as fucking alcohol. Ugh. Ugh. Nothing helps a fucking bad hangover. And they get worse as you get older.
Terrible.
So think about that. Alcohol versus cannabis edibles. I love a good edible, not even just a gummy. I love what Mrs. Weedman makes. I love, man, a good like night of bowl of infused popcorn.
Yeah, the last time we did that, we couldn't even see.
Yeah,
we could not see
we
straight.
put a lot of butter in that.
And we ate the whole bowl of popcorn.
It was delicious.
That was the problem.
We were stoned already.
Yeah.
So, and we ate that whole bowl, but it was really
God.
good. So, I mean, you just got to think the true cost of going out and drinking. It's just, I don't know. What do you think is better? I mean, we
cannabis all day long.
Right. But
is this even a question?
some people don't like cannabis though.
I think they should learn to like it. They'd be so happy.
Yeah, they would be.
They would, yeah.
So I don't know. It's you got to think, and I feel bad for.
I had to learn to like beer.
You did.
Got to learn to like cannabis.
Yeah.
Give it a minute.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm telling you, like once you give it time, experience it enough without anything else, so you understand the feelings that you're feeling. You have to really like wake up your endocannabinoid system, get your body like, in agreement with cannabis. And once you get that all dialed in, it probably takes, I don't know, 6 months of consistent usage where you really feel like you're understanding it and you know how much you can have.
Right.
And you might start seeing increases like, hey, now you could take 2 hits off of a joint, like.
You have a sister that never says she's high, and every time
and she is high because I could tell she had something before I even know that she had something. I'll be like, oh, she's totally high right now.
Sister that fakes it. That she's high. It's so bad.
And then I have another sister who's high, the second she's done with work for the day, she's got a very dialed in schedule for work. She comes home from work. The first thing she does after taking the dog. No, I think she hits the bowl and then takes the dog out, and then she just rips it all night long.
She cannot wait to get home to smoke weed.
Yeah, she can
fucking smoke.
Yeah,
I don't know how she can smoke.
She ate. We gave her like a homemade edible, and it was like 100 milligram edible, and she ate the whole thing, or 25 milligram.
Oh yes, she got it from the party, the white elephant.
Yeah, and she's like, dang, she's like, I was so high. She was cracking up. She thought it was the funniest thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, she got high.
Yeah, she did.
We had heard from some of the people in that white elephant grab bag that some of the stuff that they tried got them fucking
pretty
high.
Stony baloney.
Some different cannabinoids that their body has never had before too. Got them stony baloney. So yeah, we'll see how this whole thing fares as more states legalize and more people realize that weed's not bad, McKay. It's actually really good. And you states out there that aren't legal yet, or at least here, how about just decriminalization? Nobody should go to jail for smoking cannabis on their own property. I don't care if the state doesn't want to sell it. I don't care if the state doesn't want to really, if people want to smoke weed in the comfort of their own home or their property that they own in any state, you should not be charged. You should not be arrested. You should not be getting in trouble. You should go, if you're arresting people for weed, you suck. I can name the states in my hand right now too. So, I mean, I'm sick to my stomach. There's some kind of etiquette in cannabis.
Yeah, just
Tell
like
us
anything.
about it, Ms. Weedman.
Learning from a stoner with cannabis etiquette for beginners. There's no need to hide it. Weed is in. Smoking bongs, passing joints, and munching on edibles has become a mainstream adult activity. But do you know stoner etiquette? Oh my goodness, my eyeballs, I think my eyelids are almost completely shut. I need some toothpicks to keep my eyes open here. Pretty high. After years of jumping from faux pas to faux pas, I've learned the ways. So I'll share them with you. These are the most essential basics for the weed sesh from a semi-elder ent. And in case you don't know what an ent is, I learned just today. It is slang for somebody who smokes cannabis, a term that was possibly coined by the Reddit community. I've never heard that.
Yeah,
so,
me neither.
I'm an ent. Are you? Well, number one, it's not a microphone. If someone does you the honor of sharing some weed, don't hold it like the Grand Wizard while you tell a long-winded story. It's okay to get stoned and go on a tangent, but when it's time to puff, remember to pass. 2, never pocket the lighter. Check every pocket before leaving the sesh space. Mr. Weedman just had his favorite lighter disappear.
Oh.
He called up one of his friends. He's like, check your pocket. He's like,
laughing.
yeah, I got it.
So mad.
It's often an innocent mistake to swoop up someone's lighter, so do a double take before you leave. Be a good sesh mate and make sure you leave the lighter behind. It might be the only one in the house. 3, have water available. Sure, many people have a Stanley, a Hydro Flask, a Yeti, or some other trending water vessel to carry around. But if you're hosting, have a glass or a bottle on hand. Are you just a visitor? Ask for a glass of water. Weed doesn't only cause dry mouth. The high makes it hard to speak up sometimes. Yes, I know. It's worth it to have hydration on hand before getting lifted. 4, be mindful of your neighbor. Before lighting a blunt or firing up a volcano, consider your neighbors. If you live in an apartment or townhouse, the cannabis scent or smoke could go into a shared unit. You may share a wall with a kid's room, someone who is immune compromised, or a neighbor who hates the smell of weed. This also goes for consuming in backyards with shared fences. There are scent hiding tactics to get rid of the weed smell for those with neighbors who can't stand the funk. Cannabis scent hiding candles, air purifiers, and personal devices that help control the aroma.
There's only one thing you need.
What?
One. A toilet roll funnel.
With a dryer sheet.
With a dryer sheet at the end.
And you just blow that. They make a little device now. It's like a little rubber device.
Most people have toilet paper in their house, and most people have bounce, bounce, bounce in their house. That's all you need.
You're good to go.
And it's already bought.
Yep. So be considerate and find ways for both parties to be happy. No need to start neighborly wars over weed smoke. 5, keep spit to yourself. There is no greater shame than spitting on a shared cannabis joint, blunt, spliff, or anything in between. Keep spit to yourself, period. If this isn't manageable, then bring your own smoke and let the other one pass on by. There's no need to be sharing spit during your sesh in 2024. 6, only offer clean glass. Let's be real. We've all fallen guilty of this offense many times. You don't keep your glass as clean as you should. It's not a rule of etiquette to have people come over to consume out of a resin-crusted bong with reclaim all over inside the rig. Ugh. Important rule of stoner etiquette, clean glass only, especially for guests. 7, no peer pressure. Be kind and let people find their tolerance in a safe, comfortable setting. The days of serving newcomers gram dabs and laughing while they cough are long behind us. Now we explain milligrams and effects and serve up small doses and let people guide their own high.
100%.
Don't engage in peer pressure. It's not chill.
What do I always say? I don't push, I pull. Don't push shit. Pull people into the world. You know, get them to enjoy it. That right there says it all. It was amazing. I love it.
Number 8, ask before clearing. A first-year college student who was new to cannabis once got a bong handed to her and cleared it without asking, but apparently it was packed for the whole circle. Don't be like me. Oops, I mean her. Whether you're unsure or not, ask if the bowl is for the group before enjoying the entire rip. That's the best way to not take more than you're offered and to not smoke too much at once.
You'll know when you're smoking with somebody that's been doing it for a long time, a bong. They'll pack a hit just for you.
Yeah, and you'll like go to pass it to them and they'll put their hand up like, no, it's for you.
Yours to clear.
Yeah.
You know, and when I would smoke with people that knew that, they would get just enough to be able to clear it through the hole and enough, you know, and then it would go back around again. We'd put another packer, and no one would share the same bowl. As I've gotten older, though, you know, I would pack a bowl for it to go around to 2 or 3 people. So, I mean, it just depends. When I was younger, we would clear it ourselves, so you knew where you were at, and then you knew when the bond came to you again, you just didn't want you to pass it to the next person. So, it just depends. I always like the sound of it clearing. So that's why you just put a couple in there to get 2 nice hits out of your bong so you clear it. The sound going is a beautiful sound.
All right. Number 9, remember to match. Those who are new to weed might not understand the principles of matching, especially since not all stoners spell it out in front for them. Don't continue accepting hits of things and packed bowls at a friend's house without bringing something over in return. Whether it's an unspoken agreement that you order food, surprise them with their favorite products, or simply match on bud, be sure the partnership is going both ways. 10. Ash, then pass. When passing something rolled up around the group, remember to ash it before passing. Letting ash fall on someone or their furniture while passing is a faux pas. Be a responsible seshmate, ash, then pass. So these are some of the points of stoner etiquette that I've learned in my many years of sparking blunts and lighting bowls. There's no need to learn the hard way like me. Just follow these tips and walk into your first sesh ready to rip.
Green State, another banging article.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they do some good stuff. U.S. veterans show strong support for medical cannabis legalization. 80% of surveyed veterans support the federal legalization of medical cannabis, and they should get it for free. Free. MSOs are not rushing to open New York retail shops. And 2 more, I think, just got added to the list. I'm not going to mention any of the names. I really don't care. But if they're not going into New York to open up right away, you know shit is fucked up. There's one MSO that already has a bunch in there because they were medical, but all the ones that aren't in there yet, I wouldn't be rushing into that state anytime soon. Not at all. New York, not the people, but the politicians really screwed it up. So here, Wisconsin. Really? Wisconsin? I really had high hopes, but I should have known better. Wisconsin would operate 5 dispensaries under limited medical marijuana legalization program. 5. And they announced a limited proposal on Monday to make medical marijuana available for Wisconsinites with certain medical conditions, and received mixed reactions from lawmakers and Governor Tony Evers. Just 5. And here's the thing. There's going to be state run. So, and then who's going to run? Who's going to grow? Where's the weed going to come from? They're not even talking about that yet. And so if they're going to, the people are still going to come to Illinois. So had some high hopes. We'll see if it changes in the future. Virginia governor doesn't have any interest in legalizing marijuana sales under new Democratic-led bills. Why? But here, you can home grow there. Just home grow and just have social clubs and get-togethers and just give out weed. You can't get in any trouble for it. None in Virginia. It's legal. There's just no direct sales. You can home grow, I think, 8 plants, I think. I got to look that up. 6 plants? So what? You never have to buy weed if you learn how to grow, or you become a collective, you know. Illinois retailers sold $2 billion worth of legal products in 2023, and December was the biggest record to date. I knew it was a busy month. December, man, people were buying a lot of weed. 153 million in December, the highest yet, and yeah, with medical and recreational, $2 billion in sales, 1.6 billion from state adult use market, which launched 4 years ago. Can you believe it? 4 years ago, I remember that. People were waiting out. It was cold outside like this, and people were waiting in line. Recreational marijuana sales generated $417.6 million in tax revenue for the state in 2023. $417 million. I want to know where all that money's going. I mean, we've read it before, but I really want to know where all that money's going. Because there's still potholes. At least use some of that money to fix the potholes. So bad. Oh. Alabama medical cannabis licensing stalls once again. More. What are you waiting for? Maine sells more than 200 million of cannabis in 2023. Good for Maine. And I heard Michigan did 3 billion. I don't have the final numbers yet, but I heard they did 3 billion in sales, Michigan. 3 billion. Holy shit. This is cool. A Minnesota tribe builds first of its kind manufacturing facility for game-changing building material. They used hempcrete. Hempcrete. That's amazing. Should be used. Why, Ms. Weedman? Hempcrete's so important? Doesn't burn, right?
It doesn't burn.
Yeah. Imagine if they used that in the California wildfires. I'd really like to test that to see like how well that would do during a wildfire. You might lose everything on the outside of the house, but at least the inside of the house is not burning. I don't know. That'd be interesting to see if it could survive a wildfire like that, because it's quick and burns hot, you know? New emergency law powers to crack down on gifting in D.C. shops. They're trying to take away gifting, but there's nowhere else to buy weed. Home grow is great in D.C., and you can gift it there. They're trying to take it away, but then there's no dispensaries. So then you just go, you're taking away a person who has a business and doing nothing wrong. It's totally illegal to smoke. in D.C. And now people are making a good living from it. And you're going to take that away. Why? They're not doing anything wrong. 12 state attorney generals to tell DA to reschedule cannabis as public safety imperative. How is it public safety imperative to go to Schedule 3? It should be descheduled totally. There's been so much talk about this in the last like 5 days about rescheduling, and people are pissed off that it's going to get to Schedule 3, and it should be just, of course, it's about control. It's all about control. They'll still have it controlled if it's Schedule 3. Yeah, there'll be a little bit less on some things, like you could finally get tax write-offs. Well, if you don't own a business in cannabis, what's good is that going to do you? The pharmacies will get their hands in it. Watch. You'll start seeing CVS, Walgreens, all of them start selling it. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Ugh.
Deschedule it completely.
Just should be like tobacco. Some standards, and then tax the man, pay Caesar what he wants, and then leave it alone. So, Vermont House contemplates nixing THC caps for retail cannabis. Good, Vermont. You should. Colorado monthly cannabis sales sink to a nearly 7-year low in November. Of course, you're not the only player in town anymore. There's all the states around you now. I don't know if you have 10,000 people moving to your state anymore either, like you did. You had a heyday, and then other states opened up, so no one needed to move to Colorado anymore. Great state. Good. Be happy. What are the 3 Republican candidates' stand on cannabis? Nikki Haley says that it should be left to the states to decide. Trump wants the death penalty for drug dealers, and DeSantis says Colorado's legal weed program created a black market. Oh my gosh, I could digress. Anyway, let's talk about turmeric and hot cocoa.
Yeah. Chile, make some marijuana-infused turmeric hot cocoa. It's that time of year, whether you're in California or Chicago, that being cooler temps everywhere, winter holidays. Bring along germs and viruses no matter where your local climate is. And sometimes you're the unfortunate beneficiary of a gift you never opened. In addition to taking your vitamins, resting and eating well, boosting your immune system by incorporating turmeric into your everyday life has more benefits than meets the eye. One excellent spot to park it, hot cocoa. In India's Ayurvedic medical culture, turmeric powder or juice is given to people with many gripes, particularly pain and inflammation, and a desire to take hot cocoa to the next level spawned an awesome take on the 2 favorites. What you end up with is quite delicious, and it's the perfect vehicle to get maximum benefits from turmeric. Combining it with hot cocoa is utterly divine. Adding cannabis makes it deliciously intoxicating, and the ingredients push through both THC and turmeric's curcumin faster and better than most consumables. Black pepper and cardamom both help the turmeric work its magic, and since everything is fat soluble, it plays nicely together. So we'll post the article. It's a pretty simple recipe. It's cocoa, it's raw sugar, turmeric, black cardamom pods, a little black pepper, a little fresh ginger, dairy or a dairy alternative, and infused coconut oil or butter, and water. And so we'll have the recipe for that, the hot cocoa, and the making the infused coconut oil. And if you want to get really weird, you can use some boozy rum cream with the milk. It will be mildly alcoholic, but incredibly tasty. Drink up when you're feeling under the weather. Inflammation doesn't just mean injuries and sore muscles. It could mean sinuses and PMS too. That sounds very indulgent.
Sounds delicious.
Yummy.
And nutritious too. Mm-hmm. International news. Germany medical marijuana associations are calling for easier access to the medicine. And in Ukraine, Ministry of Finance working on proposals for hemp taxation. Czech Republic published new draft regulations for cannabis program. Yay, let's go Czech Republic. Do it. Malta ARUC is under pressure from cannabis groups over slow progress and dangerous rules. Yes. Bad rules will not lead to a good cannabis industry. This is cool, though. 50% of Australians would support a bill that legalizes growing cannabis for personal use. Amazing. Should.
Yeah.
Everybody should be able to grow this plant across the world and not get in trouble for it. Just like a tomato. I don't get in trouble for planting a tomato. Right?
Right.
In Canada, once again, but now they're blaming it on picky pot connoisseurs. 3.7 million pounds of pot has been destroyed since Canada legalized weed in 2018. 3.7 million pounds. It was like 35 billion grams or something like that. So 3.7 million pounds of weed has been destroyed because they're blaming it now on picky pot connoisseurs. No, just people want really good weed. It's not that they're being picky. They just want weed, good weed. They're paying for it. They want good weed. If you're growing it, we're not getting it. What I had to smoke back in the 90s and 80s, and it was just brick weed. Shit. Now that is shit. You're growing, you're legal to grow it. You should have the best quality weed, period. People should have really good weed to smoke if you're making money off of it. And you have all the technology, and you have professional gardeners, and you should have the best way to do it. And people should be able to get what they want. Interesting, right? Okay, so it's January, right? But soon, people are going to start planning trips.
Yeah.
Right? What are some cool cannabis-friendly hotels to visit this year? I can think of one that might happen in the future. But right now, what do you got on this list?
As cannabis legalization continues to expand across the globe, more and more hotels and resorts are catering to cannabis enthusiasts. This year, travelers can look forward to a wide range of cannabis-friendly accommodations that provide a unique and enjoyable experience. From luxury resorts with designated smoking areas to boutique hotels offering curated cannabis menus, there will be plenty of options for those seeking a cannabis-friendly getaway. The Lexi in Las Vegas is the first cannabis-friendly establishment on the famed Strip. With its sleek and modern design, the Lexi aims to redefine the concept of cannabis-friendly accommodations. Guests can expect top-notch amenities such as in-room vaporizers and personalized cannabis concierge service. The Lexi's prime location on the famed Strip ensures easy access to nearby dispensaries and a vibrant nightlife scene.
Real quick, sorry about that. Yuki's sleeping on the couch, and her eye looks like she's like a zombie dog, and I was playing the zombie song by accident. She looked like a zombie.
I can see it.
Sorry about that, everybody.
The Scotia Lodge in California is a 100-year-old boutique hotel situated just above the northern entrance to the Avenue of the Giants in Scotia. It offers a unique blend of historic charm and modern luxury. With its recent renovation in 2021, the hotel now boasts 22 beautifully designated guest rooms and suites. They provide a comfortable and stylish retreat for guests. Cannabis enthusiasts in 2024 will be delighted to know that Scotia Lodge is cannabis-friendly. The hotel provides a designated smoking area where cannabis enthusiasts can enjoy their favorite strains. The Roe Marley Beach House in Riviera Maya, Mexico, is
Mexico.
A seaside paradise for cannabis fans who want to get away to the tropics. In the beautiful Riviera Maya, this one-of-a-kind retreat offers guests a variety of luxury lodging and services to help them enjoy their love of cannabis. As an exclusive beach club, this cannabis-friendly retreat offers something new, allowing guests to get lost in the spirit of paradise. They offer private smoking spaces and guided cannabis experiences to make sure that all weed fans have a great and relaxing holiday. The Arrowhead Manor in Denver, Colorado is a boutique hotel. They allow guests to smoke weed on their outdoor patio. Guests can indulge in their love of cannabis while enjoying the breathtaking views from the outdoor patio. For those looking for a truly unique culinary experience, the hotel also offers the option to book a cannabis-infused chef, ensuring a relaxing and flavorful stay. And the Flying Pig Downtown Hostel in Amsterdam is a popular choice for budget travelers looking to explore the vibrant city. Located in the heart of Amsterdam, this hostel offers affordable accommodations without compromising on comfort and cleanliness. Guests can light up their favorite type of weed, have a drink, and talk with other guests and staff. They also have a nice deck outside. So, that's kind of fun, starting to see these things pop up.
Yeah, you will more and more.
Yeah.
Like I said, no state or country should put anybody in jail for weed. Period. Cheech Chong looking to ignite cannabis revolution with a new partnership. Man, nice dreams, Up in Smoke, some of the oldies but goodies. They just need to come out with one last duo comedy to end it, and just, you know, where they're at today kind of movie. They did a press release and are partnering with Northeast Extracts LLC to give New Yorkers access to their cannabis products, which include THC edibles and drinks and hemp smokables. Good for them. Still preaching the good word of weed, Cheech and Chong. Love it. Mrs. Weedman.
Mr. Weedman.
That's the end of the show.
That's it, huh?
That's it.
Well, everybody, have a great week. And if you are listening before the weekend and you're in the Chicagoland area, come see us. We'd love to see you.
Yeah, we'd like to smoke a joint with you and have some fun. Talk some shop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so come by and say hello. And, man, we need to get a little warmer weather here in Chicago soon.
Yeah. It's just below, like 30 below with the wind chill. That's all.
Yeah, just can we get like 20? Can we just at least get to like 35 again soon? It's only been, I know it's been like 4 days, but sucks. Just get to 30. At least the sun's out, though. At least the sun is out. So everybody out there in the world, peace be with you all. We love you. Be safe. Be kind. Man, give somebody a hug if they need it. Lift people up. Don't knock them down. As Paulie always says, smoke smart. Puff, puffing away.
Puff, puff, pass.
Check out our cannabis lifestyle brand online at 8decades.com. Our custom smokes and accessories are perfect for your coffee table, bedroom nightstand, or kitchen counter. They're designed for you to show them off. The Canna community is also loving our hemp and cotton blend t-shirts, sweatshirts, scarves, and hats, finished off with our 8 Decades logo. We've got some awesome, long-lasting goods that will be your favorite for years to come. 8 Decades, because a 9th decade of cannabis prohibition isn't acceptable. 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 Acceptable.